Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Boiling Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey, everybody. I'm Cade Legat.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
Why don't you
Have me, Jimmy.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that, Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Right, yeah. So I'm Cade Legat. I'm from Seattle. I live just, outside of Seattle, but Seattle area and stuff.
Where at, roughly?
I'm in Kirkland. So
Gotcha,
people
okay.
know it because Kirkland Signature, Costco, all that stuff.
I was up in Bothell.
Yeah, Bothell,
Yeah, every month.
That's where we're usually from, Bothell, Monroe.
Oh, gotcha.
Kirkland
Okay.
now,
Yeah, that's where Undercast. Shout out Undercast. That's where that studio is.
Oh, real?
Yeah,
Undercast, bro. Well, you guys said that to me, bro. I'll hit them up in Bothell.
definitely. They stellar. I'm not gonna hard promo them here, but definitely check it out.
Check them out.
Spot. But back to you.
Yeah, totally. So I'm up in Kirkland area. I do internet music is kind of what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the short.
It's a very good description of it.
You know what I mean?
Very good description of it. Yeah.
Well, it's because I try to tell you it's EDM, it's pop, it's hip hop. It's just stuff you'd find on the internet these days. You know what
believe
I mean?
me, I'm gonna share my definition of what I experienced with it in the middle of this interview for sure.
Yeah. So it's it's kind of all over the place. I'm getting more narrowed into what I love, what I'm trying to do more and more. Yeah, 'cause I'm so collaborative too. I just love I'm a producer through and through. First off, I'm a music producer. That's what I love. And then just artists I've kind of carried out of it just because.
Yeah, because you're in it anyway.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it. I'm some of this stuff. I'm this song is so good. I might have to do something. Yeah. I might have to keep this one myself, and do something with it.
Let's not put the wagon before the horse here. Let's start at the beginning.
Right. I'm getting excited.
No, you're all good. You're all good. I'm stoked for the middle of this now. I'm sure y'all are as well. But like I said, let's start at the beginning. What got you into music initially?
Yeah, totally. So I guess initially this is I told this story a couple of times where I try to narrow it down those key points and stuff because I feel the first time I really thought about music in a sense of I really want to do this was in third grade. I'd always be tapping on the desk with my fingers or whatever when I'm thinking it was a subconscious thing, and I still have that to this day. I always have a rhythm going, some kind of melody or something. It's just always there. And third grade was the time where I was doing that so much that my teachers, I told my parents at the parent teacher conference, yo, you got to get Cade a drum set because he's doing too much during class. He'll be at a test, but I'm not even fully aware of it.
Yeah, you're just doing it subconsciously.
It's just a part of me. I'm always tapping my leg or doing something, humming something. My wife can totally attest to all that stuff. She's yeah.
Oh, believe me, every member of my family will agree in the same respect on my side.
Right. It's just how it is when you're just a musician. So anyways, I just really started to get into drums and thinking about that more. You play rock band or whatever. I would just take whatever kind of box stuff and drumsticks. I got drumsticks for Christmas, would just hit stuff or whatever. Eventually I got that really crappy, I'm 8 years old at this point too, by the way.
Yeah.
The really crappy $100 kit that you get at a Toys R Us. It's basically comes
the first
broken.
act.
Yeah, or it comes broken basically. You know what I mean? It was supposed to have a snare drum. It was just 2 toms, a cymbal,
it doesn't have the strainer part.
No, so I'm just hitting random stuff, just trying to get beats down or whatever. And so then eventually I got a drum set. So the story kind of it's funny because I was home. It's funny, but it's kind of a sad story, I guess, as well. It's funny. I was home and I heard my mom on the phone say something like, "Yo, like, yeah, like, they all got like $1,000." Anyways, it was $1,000. My great grandpa had died and like left all his great grandkids like $1,000 or something. So I was like, for me, like being like 10, like probably like 9, 10 years old now, I'm like, what?
That's all the money. That's
Bro,
all the money. That's just all of the money.
So I'm not even kidding you. I literally like broke down crying as a kid because I remember being like, "Thank you, God, thank you," because I'm just like,
I understand that one well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I was like, this could be it now. So like, my mind's racing. It's I'm gonna get this drum set. I'm like looking online at like guitars and what stuff can I get with, you know?
What did you end up?
By the way, my parents they would tell me like, okay, this is what we're gonna do with it. You gotta like help steward your kids' money, or else they're just gonna blow through $1,000. It's not like we're gonna get $1,000 worth.
Yeah, no, you don't just put it in your hands,
right, or something. So it's like, hey, like let's figure this out. So anyways, long story short, with that. Ended up getting like, you know, just the Guitar Center sound percussion, like, you know, $300 drum set.
Yep.
I get the ZBT Zildjian cymbals, you know what I mean? So it's just like the crappiest of crap. But it's like just to have a drum set. And I'm one of 7 kids. So like there's a lot of people in my house growing up.
I mean, at that early an age too, just to have something that qualifies because
as a drum set.
I worked at Guitar Center for 10 years. I know those drum sets are not good, but they are truly not crap.
Yeah,
like there are worse starting out things.
It's better than the Toys R Us one.
And if you put good heads on them and you just treat them with love, they actually can. And also, you just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah,
the point of them is you learn how to beat the crap out of them, and then once you figure out what works, you get a new drum set.
Right. And so that's kind of what I did. Like I just figured it out from there. I would just drum every day. You know, like. I had my little iPod Nano back in the day with like,
so you just clipped it right here. You're like, let's go.
My 8 gigabyte thing, like, you know, fit as many songs in. Like I was playing punk all the time, like, you know, Yellow Card, Relent K, just Anne Berlin, whatever, just stuff like that.
Oh, I haven't heard of Anne Berlin in a minute.
Right. But it's like that alt rock kind of world, right? I just like, those are the types of drums I like learned to like play and love and like just would always drum to like every day.
Did you like Seosin?
Oh yeah, so I mean, being a drummer, like in high school, I got more into like, you know, metal and stuff. Because when you're a drummer, you eventually just fall into like, you just appreciate it no matter what. Yeah, those metal drummers are just always
they're just doing it, man.
Right?
They like that. It's crazy to have a genre that everybody thinks is centered around the guitar. That's not.
No, it's all drums.
Yeah,
people want the breakdown, you know, and stuff. So it's like. Of course, you get into that. I just was never too good at playing metal. I had a friend, shout out my friend Jeffrey Adami, you know, because he's just like, I mean, he's a crazy drummer. But like he's over in Nashville doing stuff and all the time. And he's just like, he's insane. But I grew up with him and we would just do jam sessions. And he was like a crazy metal drummer. Like he could just do anything. He still is like that. Like, here's a song one time. He's like, okay, plays it perfectly. I'm like, you know,
those kinds of people always blow my mind. Jeffrey, shout out to you.
Yeah, Jeffrey's amazing, bro. So he's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I just play that kid every day. You know, eventually, like I went to be like homeschooled, so like I had even more time just to like play drums. So like I would play.
It was just part of your daily
curriculum.
Yeah.
It was
curriculum.
Curriculum.
Yes.
It was basically like a music class, like in a sense of just like always learning stuff, like you know, on drums or whatever, and just. Getting more and more excited about that. I'd like find some friends to try to jam with here and there. My older brother Zach played electric, so we'd like jam all the time.
Nice. So yeah, you had a family band,
right? So it's like a loud house.
When did you When did you introduce double pedals?
Double pedal
later in were you? I know this is a real in the weeds question, everybody.
Yeah, because I remember like dreaming of a double pedal, but like it's kind of goofy how expensive they are, even the cheap ones.
Yeah,
the cheap like
now not so much. Now you
better now.
Well, I mean. The price is better.
Into them enough, yeah.
I don't know if I would call them.
I don't do double pedals, don't you?
I don't know if I would call them better, but the price is much more reasonable.
Got you. Because no, I just remember like being like the PDP, like kind of like chunkier one was like 250, 300 or something back in the day.
No, they're down to like one. I think you can find them for like 169. They're trash, but it's at least. You can get into the understanding,
Yeah, actually, that's way better. I just remember being like, yo, that's as much as my first drum kit.
Yeah.
By just the double kick pedal. So I had my old drum kit. I bought my friend's other drum kit eventually, like with money I just saved. So I kind of combined them.
Yeah.
I kind of had like an actual like 2 basses, like a little bit. Like I just did whatever, you know.
Yeah, good old Franken kit.
Right, and then I eventually just kind of narrowed it down and everything. Anyways, like I'm talking a lot about drums because drums are a huge part of my life. Like I was just homeschooled playing with friends and stuff. Like I grew up in church and still like do that stuff. So it's like just playing in church forever. Like you play like, you know, multiple services a week. Like you get good really fast because you're on stage. Like
and you have to kind of play with direction,
other people. It's for a certain environment. You learn how to play to the room, not just like to whatever.
It changes seasonally,
bro. Yeah, so you get really good really fast, and the dynamics you have to learn with that type of music. You get so good so fast. Like that's why all church musicians are always crazy because they just play.
Yeah, because that's just
every day.
They just figured it out. They're like, oh, we could like obviously, you know, we all believe that they support the faith.
Yeah,
that's why they're there.
Exactly.
But they were like, wait. I get to be a part of this and do the thing I love the most.
100%.
And like do it seriously. That's the thing I do like is like even on like core levels, you always get like serious playing musicians a lot of the time. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And like the respect of, I just respect people like that so much because like, there's like more and more it's regular for people to get paid. Not as much on like the West Coast. Like if you go to the South though, like those church musicians, they're professionals. Like the highest form of it, and
there are some bigger ones here though that definitely do. Like
they'll pay people and stuff for sure, but not like you'd be surprised. Some big churches just don't.
See, that you know, I mean, unfortunately, I wouldn't be in that respect. It's kind of a weird crutch of the dynamics of the music industry right now in a lot of facets. But that is not the point of this show for sure. But let's get back. I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on. So before we get into the middle,
this is just the early parts of the music journey, bro.
You're all good. We're gonna kind of cherry pick through.
I love it.
We can kind of tell a full picture here.
Yeah.
But like I said, I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on. This first one's one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
The first album I ever bought. I think it was at like a Scholastic book fair or something. Like if people remember like book fairs at school and stuff. How old was I? Like that had to be like 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah, I don't remember the book fair much. Well, no, I guess I do in middle school too. But
maybe it was somewhere around that age, like 5th, 6th grade or something. Maybe it was a little later or something. It was Relient K's 5 Years Ago, which is like kind of a weird album, but it was like Relient K and they're very like still punky kind of phase or whatever. If you know Relient K, they're great, bro. Like that's probably one of my favorite bands, just because like the songwriting was just very unique for punk, I felt like, but it was still an alternative rock and stuff, but it was just very, I loved the melodies that Matt Thiessen wrote and the drums of it, like were just always crazy. So I think that was the first one. If I remember, it was because like CDs, I mean, CDs were around for like a little bit as I was growing up, but they kind of started to phase out.
The internet.
And then the internet,
the internet.
Yeah, you probably can't, dude, if there's probably some kids, you probably can't even ask them that question. It's like, what's the first album you buy? They're like, what's buying an album?
Oh, believe me, it's happened many, many times. Many times.
Like you buy albums? Yeah.
I have a pivot question in those moments. But yes, it has definitely happened a fair amount by this point.
Yeah.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to that was specifically one you wanted to go to? So like you saw it was happening, you got the tickets, you went to it.
Yeah, I got the tickets, I went to it. I think the first show that I ever went to was like, there is like a punk alternative rock label called Tooth and Nail in Seattle. I think they're still doing like stuff, maybe not as much. They've kind of like narrowed some of their focus, but they had like a lot of like Christian like rock bands and stuff like that. So there was a band called The Classic Crime who was from Seattle. They're amazing. They're still doing stuff. I love all those dudes like Matt and Skip, Robbie. They're all doing cool stuff still. I don't know if they do like stuff as heavy just because they're all like have families and stuff now as well.
Hey, I know plenty of people with families that have thrown it down, but yeah, I get
no, exactly.
It's full on for sure.
Right. Well, it's just a different life. It's just like, you know, when because they do it they eventually went independent. But anyways, I think that was the first show was like Tooth and Nail was throwing like an artist like showcase release show thing that I remember going like when I was how old was I? I want to say like 7th grade, somewhere on 7th or 8th, or maybe it was 6th, even earlier. And that was dope because it was like a small, like kind of makeshift venue. And I honestly don't even remember where it was at, to be honest with you. But it was that was dope because I'm trying to remember there was like 2 other artists that were like sick. They were on Tooth and Nail, but it was the Classic Crime was one of them. And I remember being like super stoked on their music because they were just like that really cool alternative rock dudes, and they were from Seattle. I was like, oh, there's people in my area, like doing this. Yeah, what I want to do. I think that's what really shifted my focus of like, oh, I could do this. This isn't just something so far off. You have to like move somewhere, or like they're just Seattle dudes doing it. I was like, oh, what? That's kind of crazy. So I got really excited, I think, then.
Oh, yeah. Well, that segues well into the next question. Before we get into more of the now, do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
I don't know if there was like a time where like I had this huge epiphany, but I do remember like being very confident early on of like, I want to pursue this, like, and having like some kind of awareness of like it's not a easy path, you know what I mean? Just because like I feel like the era I grew up in, like there was like the starting of like kind of like the behind the scenes and like vlog stuff. It wasn't as much like the labels or like other people could just keep.
Yeah, there wasn't so much like mystery and illusion.
Yeah, like bands almost were doing tour vlogs like very early on back then, and you could like see some of that.
Well, that became so much more prevalent too in such a like narrow window of time.
Right.
Like suddenly behind the scenes became,
because it's just YouTube. You can just be like, hey.
Well, even like even originally it was like extra DVD content. So for like the people who did click on that stuff. So like I remember one time I found a whole extra like live show, like a whole extra set that they had like I forget what band it even was now, so I can't say who it was here, but I went into the extra stuff, and it wasn't like this big production one it was literally just them and one camera.
Oh,
and it was like this like tiny,
just one still shot,
tiny venue. Like it like literally, I think there was maybe like 40 people in this room.
That's
like,
dope,
and you could see all the walls, so like you knew that was it.
That's what
but this was like a huge band, like you know, like worldwide touring, playing to but they just played this teeny show with one camera. That's it, and that was. But it was in the bonus contents, and I watched it, and it was rad.
Yeah,
it was
makes
such a
more
cool
experience.
experience.
Connected in another way.
Yeah,
like they're normal.
Yeah, and it wasn't old footage either, which was cool. It was like from that same experience, they just played this little thing because
they wanted to.
Yeah, because why not? It's probably somewhere super obscure.
Yeah,
because it's still good to play those places.
Right.
We're not here to talk about them.
Yeah,
we're here to talk about you. Let's go ahead and get back into it. And like I said, we're going to move more towards the now.
Right.
And we're going to get what I think is, or what I imagine is a very easy one out of the way. How'd you pick your artist name?
Oh, bro, my mom gave me a cool name. So like my name, I feel fortunate because my name isn't like no one else has my name in the world. Like it
is very unique.
It's unique. It's not, and like Cade is not that uncommon of a name.
No, but it's not common either.
Yeah, it's not as common as like people have heard it, but it's not really like out there as much. I hear it a little bit more here now and there. Like I'll meet like Lil Cades, you know what I mean? But I don't meet a whole lot of Cades my age.
Yeah.
And if they are, usually it's spelled with a K or something. And Legat, like the way my family spells it, usually it's spelled Leggett. It's like how I see a lot of people spell it. So usually if people spell it like this way, I'm like, or like my way, like Legat, I'm like, oh, like we have to be related or something, or I don't know, because it's like not many people spell it that way. Like I even grew up in Bato, and like in the cul-de-sac there was another Leggett, but it was spelled the other way, and I was like, oh, what are the odds of that? But anyways, all that to say, my mom gave me a cool name. I wanted to try other artist names. I had so many like band names picked out growing up, where I was like, just band. But I always tried to do band stuff. It just never like fully formatted where I could form a band with people and stuff, just because like I don't know, there's so many different like roadblocks and stuff, and I'll tell you more about that because like that's how I got into the whole producer world and stuff. But I had like a original like DJ name when I did like more EDM, like
what was it?
It was The Cadence. Yes, because I played drums.
Nice.
My name was Cade. Cadence was already taken by some other rapper, so I was like, okay. And I wanted to spell it with a K for some reason. I don't know why. It just looked cooler. And like it just was like the internet time where it's like,
changing letters was a thing.
You did and like you changed letters, and you did like the crazy Xbox gamer tag, like or screen name stuff. Like
I was just talking about that in an episode yesterday.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, maybe we need to bring it back, those Xbox gamer tags.
Yeah, right?
But so I tried like the cadence for a little bit, but yeah, then I started like, there's another cadence or whatever. And then I was kind of like, why did I do that cadence? Like, I was trying to come up with another name. I was just like, my name isn't taken anywhere. Like, literally, my name, I could just have any social I wanted.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, you might as well.
Why not just do that? So,
hell yeah.
I didn't think about it too hard after that. I was kind of like, I have like another project where like it's hard to come up with names, and like you finally come up with a cool one, and then it's taken on all the socials, and you're like, okay, who cares? Like,
oh, believe me, plenty of people have shared their name stories now, and it's always some kind of nightmare.
Right.
Yeah.
Just getting all that stuff figured out.
Yep. Or like once you land on something like actually is good, just go with it.
Right.
You just got to go with it.
Right.
Just changing it is so hard once you reach a certain point of establishment, or until you are over established and you're just like, yeah, I can change my name from Most Stuff to Yasin Bey. Like,
right. And people can just be okay.
Yeah, and everybody's just gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, totally. We'll call you that now or whatever.
Now we're just gonna say both.
Yeah. And it's like interchangeable or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I was just talking to some other artists about this the other day. It's like you only get one good rebrand. Because I've had like other friends who change their names and they try to change all their songs on Spotify. I'm like, hey, man, you can only do that once. Those people are like, they're not gonna follow you after that. Like that's a big ego shift. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're really trying to do there are plenty of alias that you can go under, but like, yeah, full rebrand is rough.
Exactly. Yeah.
But getting back to it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing process a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning. And it sounds like you kind of dabble into all worlds.
Yeah.
So you just feel free to broad stroke this. We're going to kind of jump in and out of the realm of like artist and producer, so to speak. So
totally.
Just kind of however you approach it, feel free to share both sides. But when it comes to like getting a track started, what does the beginning look like for you?
Totally. I guess a follow-up question to that would be like, because there's different approaches I would have in different scenarios of being in a position of producer or artist. I'm collaborative and I just love to like collaborate with people. So like I can make myself, kind of a chameleon like and do whatever needs to be done in the room.
Let's do like your own music. So like for music you're making, that's yours.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the process like that it looks like for me is like it just depends. I produce like pretty much all my stuff. So like as long as it's there, like I try to when I'm actually writing the song, it's different than producing.
Yeah.
You can tackle it a couple different ways. I like to be collaborative, like I said, so you can either just bring other people in and do songs with people. And like kind of like bounce off each other's like energy. Like for instance, for like my song Hot, I was having my friend Noah Andres, who's actually from Vancouver here.
Oh, hell yeah. I don't know it.
Yeah, Noah's great. He was up in Seattle with me and my friend Matt Mogg. And we were just, 2-3 days just making songs. Like Noah will come up every now and then, make a bunch of songs. And then like, a year later we'll do it again. And it's fun. And so we made that song Hot. And we just wrote it because I made a beat in like 20 minutes before we were going to lunch. And it was just so catchy. It was like, that thing hot,
Actually, I talked about that on one of that short run segment of the Listen episode. Yeah. Which thank you for sending it in. That was a rad track.
Oh, totally, bro. I was stoked about that one. Yeah. So it's like with that, like my writing process, like it kind of just comes from like either that collaborative energy, or if like I'm sitting by myself, like the way I do it is like I'm not thinking too hard about it. I'm usually just trying to write. Like either I have an objective that I'm trying to reach, where like I already have like recorded an idea on my phone and I'm like trying to get that out.
Gotcha.
Or if I'm like actually like writing the song, like process just starting, it's like I'll just start with like the feeling and kind of like write out the word and be like, how many different ways could I say this feeling that I'm feeling right now?
Oh, interesting.
This track? Or say the same concept or whatever.
Yeah.
Like sad. It's like, well, I feel like, overwhelmed. I feel like how, like trying to like.
Yeah, you're going through the mood wheel.
Exactly. Yeah. Stuff like that. Like those like therapist things really do gotta help.
I was gonna say I've actually never considered using a mood wheel for lyric writing or like song style writing. That is
cheat code.
Yeah.
cheat code for
everybody's watching this episode. That is a valuable piece of information.
Yeah. No, totally. Like people think like, oh, you just do Rhyme Zone, or like you can find like, synonyms or something. It's like, no.
Well, I mean, those are also tools, but that is a cool
mood wheel helps.
Yeah, that is a really, because that can, that's such a, I'm not going to break down the 1,000 ways that's actually really smart, but kudos to you, sir. If I had a hat on, I would take it off.
Oh, bro.
Yes, that is a really wise decision.
I appreciate that imaginary hat, bro.
But, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so like I'll like try to like dissect that feeling, or kind of what I'm feeling from that feeling, like more like hash it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a mic, I'll just kind of like, I'll just mumble stuff, like I'll just mumble melodies of like that sound, like that feeling or whatever. And I'm just finding the vowels, you know what I mean? And then from there, the words find themselves, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like I'm making my subconscious work and just getting the feelings out.
God.
With me being a producer, like I know how to get that out of other people. It's a lot harder to do it to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, I was just talking about this concept too, like how blind you are to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with some friends where it's like, you think you know you, but usually you're the last one to know if you're like kind of doing something wrong that's hurting someone. Yeah. You're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'm just a jerk, I guess my bad. I'm trying to get better every day,
I recently came to the like realization that people don't think the way I think.
Oh,
like, so like like, not even like I'll have a thought and I'll just assume that if I have the thought, everybody also has like had this same thought. Because it's just like, I don't know. I haven't dug in too deep with that.
Right.
That is something I stumbled across the other day.
Next episode, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Right after these messages.
Yeah. But so like that's kind of like the writing process, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time I am writing songs while I'm not writing songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the reason why like some of the best stuff is written when like people are like, oh, I was working at McDonald's and I was grinding it out every day. It's like, well, yeah, you're not really like you're dreaming of like doing the stuff you really want to do, but you're like kind of forced to have your subconscious work on it while you're doing other tasks.
Yeah, it's like just menial enough.
Yes.
That like you, as long as you're forcing your brain into another space, you can put it anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's free to put your brain anywhere.
Right.
And so you're usually going to think about the things you care about the most, or you're doing the jobs you hate the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if you lock in that way, like I'm driving, like, like I had like a couple different voice memos on my way down here, just because it's like, I'm just driving, listening to music, and it's like, oh, that's intriguing. That I'm gonna just, I got this melody now. I'm just gonna like lay it down. So usually I'm trying to like rip out those ideas and like, how do I get that, like logistically into the world, right? Or technically into the world, because it's like, I can hear all the, like being a producer, I hear all the stuff in my head when I just like hum a melody and like beatbox it. So now it's like the task of actually bringing it out is a whole nother art form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and out of myself is like hard. Like that's why I like to collaborate a lot, because it's like I feed off of like.
Yeah, you just get some kind of like stimulation point to pull out something more inspiring.
Right. Like I was just in Nashville with my friend Monty, and we were linking up with different artists and stuff. And it's just like, I love going in, like I just got the computer, I'm making something, it's like, and we're all just drawing off each other's energies through like organic conversation like this, like, how you been, what you been doing,
yeah,
what are you excited about, what are you working on, like, and it doesn't have to be just like, what are you working on about music, like, are you doing your music career? It's like a lot of artists, I don't think people realize, like 85-90% of artists are like also working other jobs. Like, I don't know if that's a true statistic, but that's my observation.
There's also, I don't think a lot of people realize like how like fluid the like truly collaborative world of music is.
Oh,
like just the ability to kind of like breeze in and out of any room and play any role, big or small, and like not to perceive it as such. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a hard job to do. Like, not a lot of people can do that, but you kind of have to do that to stay alive and just do stuff in the music industry.
Some people just love the doing enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're so in love with the process that the byproduct, like that they're living, regardless of the ups or downs, they just cannot get enough of it.
Right.
And, you know, that's where cool stuff comes from.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like that constant, like, chipping away. It's like a sculptor with like, you know, doing something in marble. It's like you have to just like constantly be like chipping at it, and then something beautiful comes out. But it's like, that's not the stuff that people see. That's the whole 10,000 hour concept.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like people don't see all the time you take to, set up this awesome podcast and room and stuff and how to make it so, like great and inviting for people. They just see like, an episode or like a clip or something, so it's like all that is like, they don't see all the hard work that in the hours that goes into you, even knowing the technology. You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree, but also I think the imagery of effort has been so overpainted that it almost becomes like, at what point are you just putting in performative effort versus like doing the work
because of like the content?
Like how many people, like how like now you're even getting posts where people are like, look, it took me so long to do this video because I had to hit record, go over, jump, stop, record again.
It's so meta. Yeah.
Like we've gotten to the point where we're
video of making a video.
Yeah, we're breaking down that kind of stuff, and really, it's like, to what like it's creative, but it's only creative with the sense of like to exist in that realm versus like the essence of making music, which I feel is, it kind of transcends a lot of layers. It tackles art in a little bit fuller of a spectrum. Not to say that one is better or worse than the other. Obviously, art is subjective and it grows over time.
Yeah.
It's objective, sorry.
The thing I would say to that, though, too, is that, like, there's a difference between, like, the objective of the art and the objective of, like, it as an industry.
Exactly.
Like, a product. So.
Well, and now we're getting to the point where that's starting to dissolve itself a little bit, which is wonderful and terrifying at the same time for many understandable reasons.
Oh, yeah.
That when it happens, and I don't know that I've talked about this too many times, and I won't go into it too long, but like I put a lot of thought into this of how like when it dissolves, and like, because it's kind of like, I mean, we mentioned off camera, like stand-up comedy had a boom.
Oh yeah,
like it rose and it fell.
Everyone had access to it in a podcast sense, right?
Well, I know long before that there was an I think the boom was like the first bigger, not the first, but there was a boom in the like 80s.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like this recent surge.
Well, no, that there is
people
again.
Are super excited about
I was saying there was a boom of this, like, oh, suddenly all these people, the Pryors and the Carlins and the Murphys and all that, and then it just kind of wasn't there for a bit, even though everybody knew it. And then with the addition of presence on TV, followed by the growth of the internet and the adaptability of the comedy world, because comedy is so singular that it actually can shift directions much quicker than a lot of the other arts that play so many parts.
It's conversational and topical and stuff, so it's like it has to stay modern.
Well, that
you can still watch stuff from the 80s and like it has some kind of context to today, but they're also mentioning figures from then, and you're kind of like, what? You know what I mean?
Well, more is that they can adjust their medium.
Right.
Even like they can adapt to any room. Right. They can adapt to any like source. So like a lot of them started deciding to move to YouTube.
Oh yeah.
They're just like, hey,
specials on YouTube.
Yeah. They're just like, and like, I watch a lot of them. They're good. Like they're good.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually good ones on there.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's just
Adam Ray's doing his Dr. Phil thing.
Oh,
Seattle dude.
Adam, thank you.
Doing his great stuff.
Yeah. But like, just in that realm of things like that now. And I mean, we've gotten so far into the weeds for this.
I love this. This is a combo, bro.
But now, like, it's all the value has shifted. It's not more or less. It's different. So, like, people are like, oh, well, back in the day, you used to be able to like do this and that with this and that. Like, they're like, now this isn't worth anything. It's like, no, it's not worth the monetary value in the same sense. Like how you're looking at it, the scope it has to travel through, that value has changed and it will change forever. Those kinds of things always fluctuate. But when that changes, it's kind of like the hot cold faucet. Like when that starts to turn itself up, you either have to compensate by turning up the other side or turn down the primary one. And when the industry as a whole takes that next big turn because of the big disillusion that we've experienced, there's not going to be anything there for a little bit. But what builds from it is going to be the coolest thing, because now that's going to be built from a sense of like, we know what Goliath looks like. Now that we're all Davids, we have to build a bigger society that respects that. But it can't
take so much time.
Yes. Well, it's not
just a culture.
Not just time. It has to come from the collapse. Like this is.
You think the whole collapse?
There's no step down option.
Well, think about so then like on the flip side of like the music industry then too, it's like because we're basically coming to a point with labels where like labels don't really exist. They're trying to hold on to power just by connections. The next label are distributors. Everyone's making a distributor now, and they're trying to be the next label. It's like, oh well, we can get you on this playlist. Bro, like who cares? Like, anybody can upload music to Spotify now. It's so accessible.
Yeah.
But so like, are you saying like you think that just has to like totally like collapse in on itself?
I think
invent a whole new way of doing it, or what?
I think that what the formats will exist forever. So it's not like we're saying get rid of all the things.
Sure.
I'm saying that the bigger entities, the things that drive the largest changes, they're eating themselves from the inside.
Right.
So it's more the case of they like I said, there's not really a good way for them to step back down to anything that anybody will perceive as reasonable or fair. It's just they're not going to do it, and no matter what they do, it's not going to be enough. It's kind of a bite the hand that feeds in certain senses, but also it's just they have swayed it so far. Like we're trying to make
too big.
Like we're trying to make a big thing that suddenly a stream is worth 1 cent.
Right.
Like that is big news. Which is still a step up from 0.003, but like 1 cent. But the reality is that when CD volume was a thing, like when selling CDs mattered the most,
right,
you didn't get measured off of how many times that CD got played. So the CD was the important entity. Now, because the song is the important entity, and depending on how old you are, the late 80s, early 90s, early 2000s generation of music lived in this weird space where like everybody kind of just listened to everything as hard as they could for 6 weeks.
Right.
And then something new came along.
Right.
And back in the day, that wasn't the option because you only had the music that either came on the like 2 radio stations you had or like the records in your house or the tapes or the CDs eventually. Like so the shift changed. But again, it's that perception of value. Like is like nobody got 1 cent for listening to the one song on the CD. The value came from the CD. And from
you buy it for $10, you play as much as you want.
Well, I mean, even like $20 was like a good CD's price back in the day. Like I remember the first time I saw a CD be like $45. I was like, what the hell are we doing?
I don't remember. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but like but like it's one of those things where it's like when you have to measure it by how many times it's played from this source. Yeah, that's impossible to match in the same way.
Right.
It just because it has to be scaled differently. And I'm not supporting them. I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it. I'm saying because that is the platform that exists, it had to be moderated some way. Somebody came up with an idea and eventually it just became lore. It just became, this is what it is, not what could it be. And so again, I'm worried that now we're just at the point, and again, I could be wrong. I'm not involved in any of these conversations. Spotify, if you want to be on the show, I don't know how that works.
Let's get a Spotify exec in here.
Just reach out to me. But like I don't see easy ways for it to move.
Right.
Because if they fund too much, then they lose certain things, and like how much is like actually going to what, and then like it just and
then the prices always get bigger. It always goes up and never comes back down. I hear what you're saying. That's everything, right?
So. Yeah, and I mean I know a lot of it goes to like the bonuses and the boats and the big but like how much of that also affects R&D? How much of that also affects security for like server runnings and like quick turnaround on maintenance, like because like in the tech world, that kind of stuff does cost a lot. Because they're the only people, like the people who fix problems on call, they're the only ones that know the stuff. So they're like, you want us to do it quickly,
right?
So like, and again, I don't know how much of it is, or I'm not defending that side of things, but that is just where we're at right now. But what's great, what I think is really exciting, and this is the only reason why I'm not terrified of it. I'm just going to circle it up now.
I love it.
It's just what this episode has become.
I love this. This is what I wanted, bro. This is the conversation, bro.
Yes. But what's going to come from this is really exciting because we are primed for like peak collaboration right now. Equipment has finally reached the point where like people can do 3 or 4 things and have a great time.
Right.
So you can get 3 or 4 people in a room together, each doing 3 or 4 things comfortably.
Yeah.
And you're getting like full symphony level experiences of sound and performance.
Oh, right.
And also there's a freeness in music. You're allowed to do anything now. Like you can put any 2 genres together and then merge that with 3 more genres and it still counts. Like the looseness of
so blurred in so many ways. Yeah. So which is very fun.
Yes. And so with all that freedom and so much like predetermined collaboration from people who care about what happens next. Right. And have the freedom to do so, the Charlie XCXs of it all. Yeah. Where they have reached attention voice, but they haven't reached being influenced voice. They haven't reached that point where they're like, I make too much money now. I can't step back from this. Like, because some people all the way up at the top, that is a crutch that they live with.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a reality.
So many people's paychecks.
That's a human reality. Yeah. Like, Kevin Hart couldn't step away from it all. Think of how many people he works with, he works for, that work for him. Like, there's just so many layers to it.
Right.
But,
You're
like
right.
I said, what's going to come next?
You're making me excited
point here,
for it, bro.
Yes. What comes next is collaboration from a performance standpoint and an executive standpoint. Like, when Live Nation collapses, we don't have to let that happen again. You know what I mean? Like, we know what to look for now. Hopefully, somebody doesn't
We're going back to
figure out how to game the system, which is part of the human condition.
Yeah.
Like, we are always trying to game the system, whether it be for good, bad, or undetermined.
Sure, but maybe those systems get smaller. So it's like hopefully we go back to that of which we're...
Well, yeah, a little more almost like localized.
Yeah.
Where it's like the power goes back to the people.
To some degree, yeah. I think it'd be great. Like, I think that's what people are slightly trying to figure out. I know there's a few different platforms that people are trying to do stuff with.
It's happening in a lot of different elements of the world right now.
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets a little too far into the weeds for this show. Is that like that is a larger part of the human condition as a whole.
Right.
But
now we're talking philosophy, bro. Yes. But I love it. But I think in music too, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like, the collaboration point of stuff.
What comes next will be cool.
Yes.
I just don't know what the in-between looks like.
Right.
And again, I'm just a dude. Whatever happens.
With the microphone.
Yeah, y'all keep listening and I keep appreciating it.
Yeah.
But all right, but now we're gonna move to a bit here and I'm gonna talk about some of your music.
Great.
So I jumped on ye old Spotify and you got music going all the way back to 2019 on there, which I'm sure you got music even further. But that's how far it goes on there.
Well, I might have deleted that, boy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was what was there today for sure.
Great.
Today for sure. But, it's majority singles.
Mm-hmm.
But the consistency is impressive. And I listened to almost all of it.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, like
whole catalog?
Yeah.
Hey, bro. Hey.
And I got to say, I love the journey your music takes because, like, it progresses. It, like, in the beginning, you definitely had more, like, I would say, like, an alt rock, like kind of pop, like melancholic feel almost. And then as time progresses, it evolves. Like you continue to take in modern influences. The internet music is a great description of it. You let these sounds come in.
Yeah.
But your growth, your production, your abilities, the progression was so present there that it was almost cool to experience your linear progression with the linear progression of music happening at the same time. And so like it was like, cause I've in 3 years, I've reviewed over 4,000 songs. So like I have my finger fairly on the pulse. So it's like, I kind of got to hear the eras of music happen through your catalog.
Wow. That's huge.
Because of your consistency.
Thank you.
And also, like you said before, you work with everybody.
Yeah.
You had a track with Josiah Davis.
Yeah.
Which, shout out Josiah. He has an episode and a live performance on the show.
Does he?
Yeah.
Wait, which?
Yeah, it just happened a little while back.
Okay, but which Josiah Davis? Because there's 2 now.
Yeah, the one he does it all one word, exclamation at the end.
Is that he's the one from here?
He's from Washington, but he's not from Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, not from Washington. So this is a different Josiah Davis.
No.
Yeah, that's why. So
Whoa.
I'll tell you that story later, bro.
Well, unshout out. No, I'm kidding. Shout out to the other Josiah Davis.
No, Josiah Davis is all of them. I'm sure are great people. I don't know enough about the other Josiah Davis, but I saw that he was from here.
I thought I clicked on the one.
Maybe Spotify's
Weird.
mixed, but there's this Josiah is. I originally met him when he was living in Austin. Now he's in Chicago, and he's like just like an internet friend that we done stuff with like forever. And I went down to Austin when he lived down there, and I hung out for a couple of days. We made some music for his album, and then I came up here. He came up to Seattle like years later, and we made those songs or whatever.
Gotcha. Well,
that's
weird turn of events.
Josiah Davis, yeah, I've heard. I know he's doing like his thing and stuff. So
yeah. Well, I'm still turning this into another plug for the Josiah that's here.
I love it.
Shout out to both of them.
I love both of them. Yeah.
All right, and then another thing I really appreciate is, like I said, all of your music is solid. Like, and good is subjective. So like, that's up to everybody to decide on their own.
Listen, they'll say their own thing.
But there is an attention to detail, as somebody who is also from a world of like making music and all its elements.
Right.
There is a level of care and like obviousness, and the like, you want things to be tight. There's like a polishedness that comes from like feel. That doesn't come from like overproduction. And that's just my perception.
Hey.
But I mean, your most recent track, "Want to Go Back," which came out earlier this year, was in March.
Yeah.
I think it's a great example of it.
Hey,
I think
thank you.
Yeah, like it definitely, it has that alt vibe that like you kind of have a foundation in.
Yeah.
But it's also it's very poppy, it's very driving, it's very catchy.
Yeah.
But it's got an edge.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the edge, it's still relatable. It's easy to get behind. And
it sounds familiar.
Yes.
It's like hyper poppy. So
exactly. Like, See, even on my notes here, I say I loved the moment I heard that like very like screamy auto-tune hyper pop element.
Yes.
Because it's almost where your heart wants to go when you're listening to it. I think that it just...
That's why we dove into it.
I thought it was a really like, it's just a cool track, man. You have a really cool catalog of music.
Thank you, bro. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
But I am curious to know, out of all the music you have available, what are some of your favorite tracks to perform?
Ooh. So, bro, like, I'll be honest, I've only performed like so much. Like I honestly, it's never been my goal to be like, yo, I got to perform all this like right away.
Well, I imagine it's tough too, because you collaborate with so many people. Like, how do you make the collaboration?
Right, exactly. Make it live and stuff. So I've gone back and forth with that like a bunch. Like, I've wanted to play like live stuff like a lot more early on, but like then
you'd almost have to medley it. Like you'd have to medley your parts.
And I used to be way more like EDM, like focused. So I thought like maybe I'd just DJ stuff. And I'm like, I could do that. And then I thought about like later on as I started producing more like original stuff, I was like, okay, maybe I should like DJ and like have like a drum set. Like I just play songs, just play drums.
Pack it.
Yeah, and then like do some vocal stuff. So I thought about doing something like that, or like there's a guy, he's from Basel as well, or Seattle, Robert DeLong. He's a super dope artist or whatever. And he's gotten bigger. He's like bigger like EDM guy. Like he kind of was in like the Moombahton scene like back when or whatever.
I'm sure I sent him a message actually, Robert.
Yeah. Robert DeLong, yeah, he's great.
Messages.
Yeah, he's a great dude. So I saw him live, and he had he did like the Wii remote thing. Like he'd have his like effects where he would like turn the Wii remote and be like like stutter or like delayed. So I thought that was maybe I'll do something like that. All that to say, my favorite ones to perform, like there's one called Topo Chico.
Okay.
That's, like super fun just because it's a stupid party track. And
okay, so I'm gonna break a fourth wall and leave this in here.
Please.
I loved that track.
Yes.
Huge fan.
Yes.
I had a whole bit planned out for it.
Yeah.
And I just did not have the time to pull off all the things that were needed to make it happen. But and I'll tell you what the whole bit. I'm leaving the bit off camera because I don't want to. There's layers to it on why it works and doesn't. But
yes,
it was a great one. Ask me after this.
Okay.
That track is rad. If y'all haven't heard it, pause this, go listen to it, come back.
Yeah. So Topo Chico's a fun one. Like I literally at my sister's wedding, like I just did it when I was like half spaced out, you know, like so like it was crazy party. They're just like they started playing my song on the dance floor, gave me a mic, and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this right now.
Damn, they just surprised you with it?
Yeah. They just like, here's a mic, play that song. So I did it right there. And it was great.
Hey, I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah. And like, I haven't had a chance to yet, but I feel like Hot would just go crazy. Like Hot would go crazy.
For sure.
I really like, I don't know. I feel like Dramatic would be like super fun because that ending part, like where it just like kind of goes crazy. My song Dramatic, like I just feel like I envision like just a whole crowd like jumping, like it's like this, and then I go home and I wonder, and people just like just bop into it. So I feel like that would go hard live. Like I really like that one. So
hell yeah.
There's my answer.
Hey, great answer.
Yeah.
And then let's zoom out for a second. What are you listening to right now? What are you just taking in as a music consumer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been listening to. I try to just listen to like some like random like offshoot stuff, like as much as I can. Like just like people send me random singles or whatever to listen to. Spotify gives you the recommendation and stuff. There's this guy named Remy who's really cool. He's kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's more like internet music too, where it's like one of those just cool vocalist artists that he kind of goes in and out of a couple different genres, but it's always kind of like singy, rappy. Yeah. Like, Nick D, like, kind of like that whole like vibe. Like, and I feel like that's more of like what I want to lean into and stuff. Nick D, Connor Price, like, actually, Remy.
A lot of Connor Price kept coming up after whatever song of yours I would listen to.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. So we're on the right track.
The algorithm is working.
Yeah, because I mean Connor Price. Like my friend, like I know Graham. Like is another like one of like music like Graham too. Graham like produces for like Nick D and Connor Price. I got to do a song with Nick D and Graham and stuff.
Oh hell yeah!
It's cool. Like what they're doing is just like they kind of go in and out of different genres. They'll go like heavy into hip hop, and then all of a sudden they're doing like a kind of a more country, like thing or whatever. So it's like, but they're just always good at songwriting. It's always pop.
Country is definitely on the upswing right now too,
bro. Yeah, country is pop right now. You look at the charts, bro.
Yep.
John Bellion, his new album Father Figure just came out. I'm a huge John Bellion fan. He literally has a country song, not really, but with like Luke Combs is on there and stuff.
But hey, the original not a country song is still Over and Over Again by Nelly and Tim McGraw. I'm putting it here now.
Right.
Never forget.
Sure.
Never forget.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I love John Bellion's new album. He's always an inspiring figure to me because he's kind of like that, where he's just like, he's a producer for like his friend group. He started his artist thing. Then he's like just writing for like all the top people, and he'll go in and out of just like making these amazing albums and writing the best songs. Like does Justin Bieber's album, Jonas Brothers albums, then comes back and makes another dope album for himself. You're like, okay, cool. Like you can do it all. You can write hits on the side too as well. So John Bellion album. On the way here, I literally listened to this new like hyperpop girl duo. I like them, but they're kind of just like. Okay, this is what I'll say. I like pop music, like girly pop music. Like I work with a lot of like girl pop artists because I think they're just having fun. Like girl pop is so fun.
Yeah,
I love fun music.
Got that vibe to it for sure.
All the guy pop music is so sad. I'm like, I'm depressed. Listen to all these guy pop stuff. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or like, or it's just like super deep stuff. I'm like, and then I'm listening to like, but like some of the girl pop stuff can get like raunchy or whatever. I'm like, I don't know if I feel that way, but okay.
Yeah, very
you
much.
know what I mean? As my own self. But they're called Pebbles and Tam Tam. Like literally
okay.
Album.
I dig that.
It's hyper pop. They had this song called Case Closed. That was like, that one stuck out to me on the way here. I was like, that's dope.
Hell yeah.
So I'd say like that's like kind of some new stuff I've been listening to. I know there's like a band I really like called Bad Sons. They're like a indie rock band. They're coming out with like a new project and stuff. There's a duo named Joan. They're indie pop as well, like band guys, and they're just like putting out killer stuff all the time. So
hell yeah.
I say like I'm all over the place. I'll listen to that, the same day I'm listening to like some other hip hop thing or whatever. Like being a producer.
Hanson.
What?
A little bit of Hanson.
Sure, no. But it's like just being a producer, like you go in and out. Like I like rhythm at the end of the day. Like that, I'm a drummer, so it's like I hear that in melody, and I'm not always thinking of like lyric material. Like I'm just more for the energy.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like that girly pop stuff. I'm like, I don't relate to all this, but like I love the vibes.
Yeah, you're here for it.
So it's like I'll go with it, So yeah, so all that stuff is like I'm all over the place listening to stuff. But those are like the current things I've been like, yeah, I like this project, I like that project, So,
Hell yeah. All right. Now, before we get into this next portion, this next question is probably the densest question in the interview. But we've talked about, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is dense, bro. I feel like music is like kind of healing. Like music is one of those things where like you literally just look at the science of it, like those like ads you get on Instagram for the 52 hertz or whatever the heck. I don't even know what it is. I'm just like a noise. It's supposed to like help you focus. The sound bowl stuff or whatever. Like I think music is just a healing way of like communicating and like feeling like not alone. Like I remember like just listening to my iPod doing like early, Saturday morning chores in my family's house, growing up, like, and being like just hearing songs that just made me feel like not alone in thoughts. Even though I got family, I got God, like I'm talking about my thoughts, but it's like there's nothing like music to be like, oh, this feels relatable. Like it gets to your emotions differently. There's something about it that's just like, I don't know, it's different than even this conversation, like just singing something to someone like, yeah, not alone, whatever it may be. I don't know. Like I'm just thinking of like the emo music I listened to in high school. That helped me or whatever.
Wait, isn't that a Seosin song?
I don't know. That was just me singing something. I just made that up on the spot, bro.
All right. Well, I'm calling it on it. I'm pretty sure. Getting back to you.
All right. We'll fix it or figure it out in post. Just put this song behind you.
Oh, we don't do any editing on this show. This is all linear.
Oh yeah, it's great. But I see. Like music, what it does for me, I guess, is like it's healing, it's therapeutic. Creating it is kind of that same way, where it's just like, for me, I feel like I always just kind of have stuff in me and like ideas I think are just always floating out there. And if I get lucky enough to be gifted it, like I kind of have a responsibility to do something with it, right? It's like, to me, you have these ideas and stuff, and like, I mean, it sounds like crazy, but like, I mean, talking to yourself in your head, like there's other stuff that like will just talk to you or whatever, in the sense of like, oh, that's not like my thought. Like, oh, I should, you get angry. You're like, oh, I should hit this person. No, that's not me. I don't want to do that actually. Yeah. But there's another, like something, like another self, there's multitudes within you. So it's like music kind of helps you like almost figure that out, who your true self is. Like within there, that real voice. I think this is what people are always talking about when it's like, find your voice, find your genre, find your music, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like find yourself like in it a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's what music does for me. I feel like it's just a very healing thing. It's a way to just bring community, right? You have community events. There's a whole reason why people like have like a stage. Like they want to present themselves. They want to present an idea. They want to like connect with people and communicate some bigger idea. You know what I mean? So I always feel like that's like been my biggest goal with music, is like it's helped me in that way and it's healed me in that way. It's like, how do I help as many other people have that same experience and also communicate that in like my own way, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's deep.
Yeah, that's why we put it right in the middle here.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and move on to this next portion, which is all hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limit. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Nice.
But we are dragging a little bit on this, or not dragging, but we're going a little long on this one. So let's try to lightning round the hypothetical questions.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
This is for you at home. But for this first one, like I said before, if you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Okay.
Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
I think instantly what comes to mind is like, just because he put the album out, like John Bellion. I know it's like,
Hey, I mean,
it's
that
goofy because so many people like say that right now, or at least in the circles that I'm in, where it's like John Bellion's the go, It's like, but he's just like one of those dudes where it's just like, wow, like he's continually gotten better and put out hits, and it's like he doesn't stop. I think it'd be really cool to work with him, just like in like a songwriting format, to see how he approaches the songwriting and like more, and like the production of things, just because he does all the seats in the music world, and I feel like that's kind of what I do as well.
Yeah,
to some degree, everyone does that.
Now more than ever, for sure.
But it's more like necessity in a way, where it's like some people just want to be an artist, so they figure out enough to record themselves.
Yeah, some people just want to do the whole, I didn't realize when I became an artist, I would also be
Yeah.
List of 10 things.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I mean, hey, that content works that's why people keep doing it. So
Sure. I mean, well, yeah.
Right. So it's like, but I mean, so it sounds kind of like corny, I guess, but John Billion would just be like, that'd be like a really cool
Oh, hell yeah.
dream of just being like, oh, like, dang, like that's someone where it's like, it just seems unattainable and it'd be like really cool.
That's like me with Childish Gambino.
Oh,
that's like
Donald Glover is
my dream guest, which I mean, again, like not somebody small, not somebody like obscure that'd be like, oh, it's A$AP Rock. Nobody's interviewed him in so long. Like,
right.
But I just, that is who, like, when I was coming up in this, I was like,
yeah,
that's like the level that I want to reach to feel like this is beyond anything I could have perceived.
I've imagined, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love people like that too, like Childish Gambino and Donald Glover. Like he is someone where it's like he does so many things and all of them so well. Like I just love people like that who just like are able to just execute routinely like very good art in whatever media.
Yes.
So
hell yeah. And then subsequently, who's a local person that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Oh, local for Seattle.
Yeah, let's do there. And if you have one for here, you can do both.
Okay, bet. Local for Seattle, like I would love to link with Macklemore just because he's kind of like the Seattle top dog. You know what I mean? And I have some friends like adjacent to him, and he's just like, he seems like the cool cat. Like whereas like he's still in Seattle. He's not someone that's like, yo, I'm gonna take all my business to LA. I mean, sure, he probably does stuff, whatever. But he's just done so much for like the independent music world, Seattle and stuff. Like he stays there. He's got a whole program called The Residency that just like helps music stay alive in the youth, you know what I mean? In these programs and stuff. So I feel like that'd be dope because it'd be really cool just to like chop it up. Even just to chop it up with him and like work on something or whatever. Like he just seems like he's like very much, he's kind of doing like more of like a pop lane more and more these days with his rap and stuff, which I think is really cool. That's what I'm doing. So I feel like I could see his next album like elevating to like maybe a Connor Price type thing.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody, you know what to do. Add him in the comments. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Hey, there we go.
For this next one, like I said before, sky's the limit, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show.
Oh, literally anywhere in the world.
And it doesn't have to be a venue. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
Because it is a venue, like the Gorge is insane.
Oh, hell yeah.
Watch it, but like, so I would love to do that. I'm trying to think of like where like wouldn't be a venue that'd be insane to like do a show there. Probably some just like crazy like nature like place because I mean, I would love to do something like that. I'm trying to think of my favorite nature spot I've been to, whatever. Because I like Red Rocks is like the other like one that everyone always talks about, you know, amphitheater and stuff. And I really like growing up here where everything's green, like I really like I love it. But I really like southern Utah and like northern Arizona is so red and rock and dry. It looks so different. So it'd be dope to do something maybe like in like one of those national parks, like Monument Valley. Like imagine just Monument Valley, like where like Forrest Gump was running. You know what I mean? Imagine in that road, you just set up an insane, you just perform there.
Yeah.
The whole bit, like that'd be kind of insane.
Hell yeah.
Like that long road would be sick, I think.
Hell yeah. Well,
Let's say that. That's
a great answer. Thank you for taking us through the steps on how you got there too. I appreciate
my mind.
Yeah, you're just showing your work. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years. They could have put out an album yesterday.
Right.
Who would you want an album from?
Oh, let's get like a band that's not doing something. There might be like a couple like that I could like say, but they're like still like kind of doing stuff. You know how people like still do stuff, but like it's not like the same, especially in the metal world.
Yeah.
Like I really liked Attack Attack.
Oh, man. I love Attack.
And they like kind of like with Caleb Shomo, like they did some of that stuff. It was still good, and then now they're releasing stuff again, and I'm like, this isn't any of the same lineup, and this isn't.
Yeah.
It's just not the same band. It's not good, and like to me, but so that would be kind of sick. Or like I really like this like piano indie rock band called Jack's Mannequin.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love Jack's Mannequin.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Right, Jack's Mannequin. I mean, so Andrew McMahon he's had a progression where he's gone from something corporate, which is more punky. Jack's Mannequin was a little bit more piano, like rock, like in a sense, and not like piano rock like Elton John, like piano rock like modern 2000s like alt rock with just a piano as well. And now he has got Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness is like his other project, but it's way more like indie pop. And I feel like it's like his piano with like a lot of extra production, and it's just not as good to me.
Yeah.
But like if Jack's Mannequin sat down and did another album, I think I'd be like, yo, like with that kind of era, I'd be like, that would be stoked. Like, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So it's always been Andrew McMahon all the way through these bands, but it's like, so I've always just liked him as an artist. But I think that would be like a really cool. That's what I think. That's a great genre.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. I love
that. Not even anything I make is just stuff I like and grow up with.
Hey, you're totally. Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to like and listen to pretty much everything. I think that's the funnest part of music.
Right.
But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to in the next 6 months?
Yeah. So I'm trying to like wrap up some other singles and stuff. I'm just playing the single game right now, so trying to have like a few songs. I'm trying to stay consistent with it, where I'm trying to do, I'll say this, like a song a month, just because it's like that consistency game. Like you said, like you saw my catalog, it's like, it's great, but if you stay just consistent and people can expect something from you every month, they can expect, that your podcast, like every, like however often, and it's just like, you can crank it out. Like people will be like, oh, like I know it's going to be there. I'm going to look for it this next time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like that with anything. So I think this is music. That's why that game kind of helps, it's like just put something out regularly. So yeah, trying to work on that, the project there. And then I'm just like, I produce people. So I always got like random stuff coming in and sync projects that I do. So I'm like working on like tons of different EPs for like sync music. So it's like, I'm all over the place.
You got lots of hands and lots of jars.
Exactly. So it's like production, artistry stuff. Like, yeah, my hope is just to have more bangers like hot coming out,
Oh yeah.
So that's the thing to keep the eye out for on the Cade Legat, project.
Well, definitely looking forward to all of that.
Yeah.
For this next one, go and look straight at your camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me online. I use Instagram, TikTok. I just started getting active on Threads now. All of it is at Cade Legat, CADELEGAT, Legat. But it says Legat, like where's my leg at, just so you know. But yeah, it's just at Cade Legat everywhere. So find me on socials.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Bro, I mean, yeah, my guy Monty, I've been like just building a bunch of stuff with. He's a great artist as well. He's super dope. We've just been working on a bunch of music and like with a different artist together. And it's fun just to have like a partner in music to like build stuff with. So shout out to him. He just goes by Loved by Monty online. I mean, the Seattle people, I'll say, like, this is Legatsby Studio, which they're not a Legat either, but, I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The Seattle Mariners thing, it's all just a dream. My guy, he's great. Simon Legatsby, he's just, like, a great designer in Seattle and stuff.
It's a cool hat.
Yeah. He's got
tons of something. Looks like something Oblate Reed would wear.
Right, yeah. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's that whole thing. Like, Oblate, he wears a lot of my friends. Oh, I guess I'll shout that out to Jonah. Jonah, like, my friend Corbin owns Jonah, and he does, like, he's a Seattle guy. He's in LA now. You know how it goes. But
Yep.
He's a great, like, clothing brand as well, Jonah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. And with that being said, I've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Do it.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. I need to get that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I need some of that.
And this is entirely up to your interpretation, but in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? It's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
I actually have a good one. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and no one knows about this band. They're called Single File. They have a album called Common Struggles that's like, I want to say it's like 2009.
Okay.
It's one of the best like alt rock albums I've ever heard. It's my style. Like, what if I had a band, I'd be like almost like this,
Gotcha.
with some synths, but you get into the synth world, it gets too crazy too fast.
Then suddenly you're Enter Shikari.
Yes, exactly right. So like they're not like, it's not like hard alt rock or like super heavy guitars, because I like was trying, like I tried so hard to find stuff online about them.
Mm-hmm.
There's this like 3-piece like band from Denver that just like ripped. Like they're crazy. The drum tone on that album and the drummers, like all like, I would play those, you know, songs all the time on drums and like try to figure it out or whatever. But it's like, they're just like, it's a really weird album because they were signed to Warner. They did one album and then just never, like they did like one major tour and then never did anything again. And I don't know what the dudes do. They like, there's one, the bassist made like another band, like, and it's kind of like folky, but it's like, I was trying to find anything online about them. They're so like just chronically not online. But it's like literally the best, like, I don't know, pop alt rock album.
Oh yeah,
ever. Like I love it. Like I know all the words. Like one of those albums where you just like all the way through.
Oh,
every road
got a few
trip,
of those. Yep.
Every road trip you put it on. You know, so it's like I would say
when you need to sing an entire album's worth of stuff, that's the one you go to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If someone put a gun in my head, they're like, "Hey, sing the entire album." I'd be like,
"Yep,
put on."
Yep, I know exactly what I'm doing.
So I love that album. That's an obscure one that I don't think like anyone would know.
It's right in the realm of time where I was taking in that kind of music, and I'm not familiar with it, so I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for that rec. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Bro, thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Great.
And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Cade.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.